insightful discussion. There was intensity and levity, and most of all, there was enlightenment. As we continue our work, we always look for impactful topics that are of interest to our diverse employee population. We are excited to be able to share the mission and work of the Maltz Museum as a feature of our next newsletter. Since opening in 2005, the Maltz Museum has been devoted to diversity and tolerance and exploring diverse stories of courage from history and today. The research will assist us to accurately speak of subjects that we may not know the most about. The tour will also allow us to share with our stakeholders the reach of diversity efforts that expand throughout the entire county. Working with our communications department and executive office, we are looking forward to expanding our conversations into a quarterly event and potentially a podcast. We can also take this opportunity to collaborate with the museum leadership for possible future and panel discussions. So our HR team is just looking to broaden our horizons, see where we can still go and continue our diversity conversation, diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations within and without the county. So those are my comments for this morning.
Vaughn?
Good morning, everybody. Vaughn Johnson, Department of Development. I love your comments, Sheba, about what you're doing internally, and I've shared it with this group before that our department had worked on several DEI initiatives internally, and we wrapped that up at the end of last year. But as you know, the director of our department, Paul Herdig, is very, very serious about DEI and inclusion in terms of what we do internally, as well as what we do externally as a department. And I want to share a couple of things of what we've been doing in terms of minority business enterprise support in the community and in our department. So one of the things I want to share is, and Director Lockett has been working with me on this one, is a collaborative effort that we have with the city of Cleveland to work with them and other organizations in terms of MBE inclusion on construction projects. As we all know, there's a tremendous amount of construction going on in Northeast Ohio, and we are working with the city of Cleveland and other organizations to establish some parameters and have some influence in terms of what's going on with MBE inclusion. So that's one. The next one I wanted to share is I'm part of a lending and banking panel that's part of the Business Growth Compass. There is a roundtable series, and I was at one yesterday where many MBEs were discussing about having access to capital, and I share with them how they can become bankable. That's one of the hurdles or obstacles to getting funded is really becoming bankable. So this ongoing series I'm a part of with other bankers from some of our top lenders and other organizations around Northeast Ohio. The next one I wanted to share is a very significant one that deals with procurement in our healthcare system. There is a major healthcare provider that is going to be spending about $1.5 billion in procurement over the next 3 years. And I'm actually going to be working with them to put on a series of webinars on how MBEs can do business with this healthcare provider. There tends to be a barrier to accessing those procurement opportunities. So we are actually going to put together a series of webinars on how they can actually do that. And then this last one, I think Director Lockett is going to be joining me at. It is a MBE event called CUBE, Construction Utilities, Buildings, and Equity Symposium, where there's going to be a panel discussion from MBE, construction owners, and other panelists to discuss a variety of topics. And Director Lockett and I are going to be there to help support this initiative. But what I really like about this is some of the panel discussions are going to center around leveraging public policy, including community benefit agreements, to ensure that public investments flow more equitable to communities of color, women, and other historically underserved groups. So we will be there representing the county in that event. I believe it comes up in April. So those are just some of the things that we're doing in the Department of Development as it relates to economic development to support equity.
Great.
Thanks.
Jill?
Good morning. With Public Safety and Justice Services, we continue to convene our employee-led committee. We met in January, and then we met over sort of like by email and Teams in February, making sure that everyone had all of the materials that were put forth, Director Lockett, by your shop in 2022. And then our intention is to do a planning retreat to make sure that we are really determining how public safety and justice services can fit into all of the various county-wide initiatives. And we did make the decision to schedule that retreat or reschedule it for after the What's Next initiative is announced in the next couple of weeks to make sure that we're not duplicating or conflicting in any way. So I look forward to announcing our department direction at the next meeting.
I'll go, then I'll let Lenore go. So yesterday, again, David Merriman on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services. Yesterday we had a very exciting announcement. Our Office of Homeless Services launched a strategic action plan for homelessness. Very exciting action plan, very progressive and aggressive with the goal of reducing homelessness by 25%. And I think there's good coverage of it both in print media as well as online, and the materials as well as the video from the event are posted on the Office of Homeless Services website. I bring attention to this because Melissa Sirac and the Homeless Service team have ensured that there is equity language baked into this plan really from the start. First goal is to improve engagement and access, and the first item under that goal is undertake ongoing equity analysis, including race, gender, disability, and intersectionality across disadvantaged and underrepresented groups. There's other specific sub-goals that speak to equity throughout the 5 goals, but I also then want to say the final goal is Goal 5 is to build capacity, and just need to reflect on that goal's sub-outcomes. The 4th is to prepare an equity plan for persons experiencing a housing crisis, and then promote race equity among this continuum of care system staff at all levels, from frontline to management. And I would say this is the most current example of how Department of Health and Human Service offices are really baking into their strategies equity at every level, at the level of staff, at the level of partnership, at the level of really services to our residents. And I just need to applaud Melissa and the Continuum of Care advisory team for such a thoughtful plan, a well-organized launch, and I'm really confident in their ability to carry this plan out. It will require significant investment, but I think in many ways it's establishing a new path for our community to address homelessness. 2 other announcements. One, I want to just let the group know that effective Monday, we have a new assistant director in the Offices of Health, the Department of Health and Human Services. Chris Murray, formerly the county treasurer, is taking the role as assistant director. Very excited to have Chris come on. He's going to focus a lot on business operations. He will be my alternate for these meetings, so in the event that I'm not available, I will send follow-up direct notice. I think that's something we all need to be tracking as we move forward, and we're into this new year, that we have an alternate on record for every board member in the event that we're not available. And I'd ask each of you if this hasn't already been established, to please do so. And then the last thing I do want to just point out that Sabrina Roberts continues to be very engaged with our department. Her role now is senior advisor to county executive, but she also has maintained much of the portfolio for equity work. And I'd ask her, Sabrina, if there's anything you'd like to share about that work or where we currently stand.
Thanks, David, and thanks for even giving me a shout out. It is my just honor to still be part of the team. I'm still part of the HHS team, and so in that, the equity piece obviously is a very big piece and important part of that for me. The plan we wrote at the end of the year, coming into the new year, I was really proud of our team. Every director stepped up, our shared services directors, to really, as a group, look at our whole enterprise. And so I was very proud, and it was reflective of the deeper and the scorecard, and it really brought us to a place to say, where do we need to go from here? And so I have to shout out a special coordinator on special projects. Jennifer Crozman has been just the MVP, working with me to pull together where the gaps are and begin to put a spreadsheet together to look at where we need to speak to very specific departments on how they want to move forward in some areas. But it has been a pleasure working with Jennifer and the team, and we're going to onboard Chris Murray to become part of the DEI family. So looking forward to working with the directors under David's leadership to really hone in on some key areas, because we know you can't spread peanut butter. You got to focus on one or two areas and do well in one or two areas. You can't throw everything on the table and say, do it all. It won't work well. So just each director have their own challenges and opportunities. So just figuring out where those opportunities and challenges lie, and them picking a lane that's, winnable right now. You gotta find something to get momentum. And I think this last year, it was really nice to see them gravitate towards certain areas and now push and challenge to pick something different or go a little deeper and more depth in that area. So really looking forward to that. And then I have to shout out the steering committee. Again, this is a volunteer group, very tight group, still looking at overarching. So we have the report pieces, and they weighed in on some of the crucial conversations that we started, and that now other people are taking up the banter to have crucial conversations. So want to shout out that committee. They're steadfast and really looking at how we observe different cultures around us. And I want to shout out our Department of Senior and Adult Services. They've done some really good, exciting things around just celebrating other cultures. So looking at that piece, and then finally, continuing the crucial conversations. And the steering committee, it's great because they're from all of the different departments. The way they look at things may be different than a director looks at things. We only have one community initiatives director that sits there, and he was part of it before he became director, so we didn't throw him off the committee. But it's really nice to get perspective from all levels of staffing in our enterprise. So under David's leadership, he's been really open and really kind of like just basically listening to staff around how they want to approach the subject. And the last shout out to the steering committee, we have an engagement survey right now that we're working on, and over 100 people have already filled it out. The difference is we didn't blast it out. We're talking to people one-on-one to fill it out. So that takes time, and they have to do their work. So it's on lunch, it's on their breaks, just really talking to people about what they want to see going forward. So long explanation, but thank you, David, for the shout out.
Thank you very much for continuing to support us. Lenora, any updates?
I'll provide a few updates. Thank you for the opportunity. First, I'd like to say it's very inspiring to hear each area discuss how they're moving and pushing the needle forward for equity and inclusion, taking their own spin on what their missions within their department and making sure that they're embedding that in their operations. So that's always very inspiring. And also, even though each department has their various, their focus, you can still learn from other departments and use those tools and tips that those other departments are using to possibly apply to your area. So it's great to share and hear the information that you all are providing and working on. For the Department of Equity and Inclusion, I would like to welcome our two new contract compliance officers. So we've been functioning with 3 vacancies, which is significant for a small department. So we have in February, LaQuisha Lyons and Carmen Chapman Cameron joined the team. In addition, effective Monday, we promoted Jennifer Wilson. She's the Senior Contract Compliance Officer. So we're excited about the enhanced capacity that we have, that we can fulfill a lot of the missions and goals that we have for this year. I would also like to thank Dawn. She's been helping us get the word out about the upcoming What's Next initiative. That's going to be next Thursday at 10 a.m. That initiative is going to be a 2-part. We're looking at it being an annual 2-part segment. So that's February. We're looking at, March being every March, using that as a virtual outreach to all staff to let them know what commitments have been made, what work we've done the past year, keeping them engaged getting feedback from them on what we should do next. While we want to get inspired by our past accomplishments, we also want to learn from areas that we may not have made hit our goals, but we made progress. And also, we want to get ideas from the staff, employees at every level. What's next? What do we need to be working on? The second part will be 6 months from now, which is in September. We're going to have multiple sessions because we want to make sure we're engaging those employees that do not have a county-issued PC or laptop. So we'll provide more details on that. We want to follow a similar process as last year, where we want to provide multiple dates and times so that we have in the county various shifts, and also a significant population that do not have, as I stated, county laptops and PCs. We want to provide them the opportunity to come in person to the Harvard Road garage facility, which is where we're going to have the sessions this year in September. So again, thank you, Dawn, with Communications, for working to get the message out to the employees. It's next Thursday. And also Public Works for, again, we've been using their facility several times. So making that commitment with us, working with us to have those dates and times established. So that completes my additional comment.
Thank you. Any questions from any of the commission members, each other?
No, I would like to ask Vaughn to definitely keep me informed about that healthcare initiative.
Oh, absolutely.
Real important for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear whatever's going on there.
Okay, I will.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that was my only comment.
We're going to move on in the agenda. I think our next item is a presentation from College Now on the mentoring program. I know we have a guest that's joining us by Teams. And so, Lenore, would you like to introduce the guest and get us kicked off?
Yes, thank you. So today we have the honor of Madeline Wright from College Now Mentoring Program to give us a presentation on that program. It has a significant diverse demographic, and there's a proven track record that mentorship helps with the attrition of students through college.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, commission members, for inviting us to present today, and a special thank you to Lenora for helping facilitate. But I'm Madeline. I work on the College Now mentoring program. And I, again, am very delighted to be here today to share with you some of our work and invite you to participate with us in whatever capacity you're able. But first, I did want to kind of set the stage by just pointing out, I think, something we often overlook. College and higher education is actually quite a revolutionary and important institution in American culture. It is one of the most prominent ways that people are able to achieve the American dream, right? And to have those opportunities. So it plays a really crucial role in society. However, higher ed is not designed to serve all students equally. And if students lack certain supports, financial, social supports, they are really at a disadvantage in terms of making it through college. And that's what our program seeks to provide. We want to provide the right supports to our students so that our students have the same opportunity to make it through as other students do. If you're not familiar with College Now, a couple of quick context items here. We were founded about 50 years ago, and our mission is to increase post-secondary attainment across Northeast Ohio. Our focus is that post-secondary, so it doesn't have to be college, but we help people connect to career training and certification programs as well. Anything that will give them that kind of post-college credentialing that's so important for their earning potential down the line. And we see our mission in terms of not only serving and empowering our individual clients, but also in terms of the impact on our entire community. Because research has shown if you have more degree holders, more certified workers in the community, that's going to improve not only economics, but health outcomes for the whole entire community as well. So we do see our mission in that kind of twofold. We pursue that in couple of different ways, couple different buckets. First is advising. We want to make sure our clients understand their options and everything that's out there, whether it is a certification program or whether it's a 4-year degree or possibly an advanced degree. And then once our clients determine what is the best option for them, we want to help them kind of parse down how are they going to get the resources to do that. So it could be that scholarship that we're able to provide, financial aid counseling we're able to provide, or we can also help connect people to other programs, supportive programs as well. College Now has our own scholarship, the College Now Scholarship, which we were founded upon 50 some years ago. we are proud to still offer that today. We award about 200 new students, 200 to 300 per year, and we follow students through with that award for 4 years of college and potentially 5 in some cases. So we really are committed there to supporting the students through. And then the last piece is the mentoring program. We instituted that about 12 years ago, and it is the last sort of supportive piece for students. Again, we have that financial support, but also that social and emotional support that's so crucial. College Now is joined in our work increasing that post-secondary attainment, access to education. We are joined in this by many different partners, including the counties. Thank you so much for your robust support throughout the years. But also, more recently, we were joined in this by Say Yes Cleveland. And I'm sure this audience here is familiar, but Say Yes launched in January of 2019. And the vision of Say Yes and our partners here in Cleveland is to support our families in Cleveland, students and families, to make sure that our students can really focus on being students. So some of that is, realigning services, realigning the ways that we have access for students, for their families through schools, to some of our community resources, so that it's much more accessible, and students and their parents and guardians are much more able to avail themselves of those. So ultimately, the goal then is, as students are able to focus on school, be their best academically, that they will be able then to take advantage of a scholarship, and part of Say Yes is that scholarship, full tuition and fee support for graduates of CMSD to public colleges and universities in Ohio. And there's also a list of partner schools, private partner schools throughout the country as well. So ultimately, very energizing mission and goal to change the outcomes for Cleveland, for Northeast Ohio, basically by opening up access to education. And that is exactly in our wheelhouse at College Now. So we are proud to partner in terms of providing those scholarships, dispersing those scholarships, but also providing mentoring support. We mentor all of the Say Yes recipients in addition to our College Now scholarship recipients. And mentoring is so key because, as all of you know who've been through college, college is about more than just paying tuition, right? There's a lot more that goes into it. And we can see that kind of borne out in the numbers, right? College can be pretty challenging. And first, as I mentioned before, the institution of higher education, it was designed with a particular student in mind at the outset, right? And a student with certain financial and social supports. That's increasingly not the norm for incoming college freshmen nationally, and really arguably has never been the norm for our student population at College Now. We serve students who are high financial need, students who have that demonstrated need for that additional scholarship support. Many of our students are first generation college students. And if you are a student who is first gen, if you're a student who is low income, if you are a student of color, research shows you are significantly less likely to graduate on time from college. Again, just because that institution is not set up really to serve you as an individual. Now that's really a huge problem because a college degree means a lot more lifetime earning potential for individuals, actually up to $1 million more over the course of your lifetime. And as I mentioned, better impacts in terms of health and quality of life, longevity, for individuals and families, and of course, even our community as a whole is impacted by that. So access and completion are really crucial. Now, this chart on the screen is looking at graduation completion through the lens of income, but as I mentioned, other factors also contribute. The national average for college graduation there on the far left is only 56%. So we're looking at all students who enter college, regardless of their income. And again, this is students who enter college. Only 56% are going to graduate in 6 years with a 4-year degree. So that's a rather sobering statistic. We're at about the halfway mark nationally. The next bar over shows students who are eligible for the Pell Grant. And these are, again, students in that high financial need bracket. Only 42% of those students are expected to earn a degree in 6 years. So that means more than half of our most financially challenged students who arguably stand to gain the most from a credential are going to be leaving school without that credential and possibly with debt as well. So, that's quite a call to action. And at College Now, when we saw this data borne out with our scholarship recipients, we decided to institute that mentoring program. And now, as you can see, we have a 70% on-time completion rate. So it's definitely room for growth. We want it to be 100%, but we're almost doubling what our students really conceivably should be achieving. So again, that's coupling that financial support with that social and emotional support of a mentor has been really transformative for our students. So numbers are wonderful, but what does mentoring really mean to our students? What impact does it really have? Ultimately, it's different for every individual student and what they need and what they're looking for. However, when we ask students in general, what's the value of this program for them, their responses really do tend to center on that value of having someone in their corner, who can be a sounding board, who can be somebody who's their cheerleader, essentially, who can offer them support and encouragement and also that critical perspective on college. And the quotes on the screen here kind of reflect that sort of wide range of ways mentors can have that impact. The first two quotes, India and Devlin, are focused really on that mentor perspective, getting them through a tough time, keeping them motivated, keeping that perspective positive, kind of normalizing having struggles and things. And then the last quote from Rose talks more about that professional piece. And so Rose's mentor was able to really help her on that side of building her connections and her experience in the field she wanted to enter. So in short, no matter what students are looking for, mentors are able to offer them that extra help and that extra kind of oomph to get through. So the program is definitely impactful and having an effect for students. And I did want to give you some details if you're starting to think about how you might engage, what this actually is about and what this would be asking of you. And again, quick note of context, we are a rather large program and we are 12 years old, so we are pretty well established. We started small at about 43 pairs. Now we are up to 1,700 pairs. We expect to onboard about 500 students next year. Of course, with the pandemic, it's disrupted a little bit of our usual business, but we do expect to grow the program year over year as Say Yes really becomes more well-known and more of a program that we're seeing students taking advantage of. So again, our students are all recipients of either Say Yes or College Now. That means they're all from Northeast Ohio. Many of our students are from Cuyahoga County. And most of our students go to college inside Cuyahoga County, so it's a very localized feel. Again, all of our students have that demonstrated financial need. And this year, 66% of our students are first in their families to go to college. So they've identified that they are kind of forging the path and do have need for that extra kind of support from advice and things from a mentor. Additionally, for this group, possibly of interest, nearly 75% of our students identify as students of color. And so we are definitely at the forefront of seeing that changing demographic of college attendance throughout the country. Mentors, in terms of what you all might be contributing to the program, mentors are volunteers, possibly like you, with 2 or 4 year college degrees who are just willing to share their time, their experience with a student, provide some of that guidance that a student might need if they are that in that first gen category. Mentors are matched with one student at a time, so don't worry, we won't match you with multiple students. And College Now provides a lot of extra support for mentors throughout the process. We provide training at the outset and throughout. We have events, we have curriculum, we have things to kind of help support you and that student as you go through your relationship. Speaking of the relationship, it is a multi-year match. So just the same way that College Now commits and Say Yes commits to supporting the student financially through multiple years of college, we ask the mentor to do that as well. So it is a longer term commitment. However, day to day, the program doesn't really take much. We have designed it to be flexible and accessible for students and for professionals. We realize everybody is busy. So we ask that pairs exchange 2 email messages per month. We have a platform we connect you through, so the messaging happens there. And then also meet 3 times per year. And meetings could be at our events, as you see pictured on the screen there. Meetings could be through our virtual platform. They have a conferencing system, or could be coffee, could be a phone call, could be shadowing, whatever you and your student really feel is a good cadence for you and appeals to you. As I mentioned, we also have a curriculum we provide. So we do have some of that to help kind of walk you through. If you haven't been in college in a while or you weren't a first generation college student, we help kind of break down what are important conversations to have with your student at what points to really have that impact. And then, you know, we also have those events that we host that involve some networking and some additional time face-to-face with your students. So those can be really important as well. So essentially, if you have time to send 2 emails a month and have a video call once in a while, you have time to mentor in this program. And as you do consider whether to get involved or ask others to get involved, we again want to assure you can have a real impact. And also know that the program will impact you likely as well. But our first metric, the thing we do focus on the most is our student success. And again, 70% of our students who are mentored graduate on time. We also have cracked a 90% retention rate from first to second year for our students. So that's also exciting news. We are finalizing those numbers, but certainly, again, very promising numbers. And we're hoping that will continue to trend upwards. Another thing that we consider in addition to our students, of course, is our mentors. We want to make sure that our volunteers are also getting things out of the program. And mentors cite a number of things that they value about being involved with us. Of course, it's a good way to improve your own skills if you're looking to mentor, coach, or how to have those difficult conversations. That can be an important piece for you there. It's also some good networking, as mentioned. We have about 2,000 mentors involved in the program, again, all throughout Northeast Ohio. So it's a good way to get connected with others that share your passion there for education and for the next generation. And then it's also a good way to pay it forward. I know there's been a lot of disruption in the volunteer space over the last couple of years, but this is a primarily online way that you can really have a personal impact and get connected to an individual who you're really able to develop that relationship with. And College Now makes it pretty easy. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of supports. We have an app. We have staff that are very involved. So you have a lot of that as you go through. And then lastly, Northeast Ohio is definitely going to benefit by having those additional degree holders in Northeast Ohio. One of our secret motivations for this program too is if we can connect our students to mentors that are rooted here locally, our students will be more likely to stay local after college. So you're also kind of our secret weapon in terms of convincing our students to stay here in the Cleveland area after graduation. Thinking about next steps, my ask for you, please do consider personally signing up to mentor if this resonates with you at all. If you're curious, I'm happy to answer questions. I'll drop my email in the chat. But our website is on the screen. I'll put that in the chat too. Although I don't know if you all can access the chat. Is that being live streamed out, or maybe Lenora, we can coordinate how to get information out.
We can include it in the minutes from the meeting.
Okay.
But
all right.
I would also just encourage you. I think if you're on the email, you could reply all to everyone that's on the email.
And,
the meeting.
Okay.
Yes, and if you could send me the PowerPoint also.
Absolutely.
That information we can share. Also.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, so I guess the ask is consider it yourself personally. If you have a 2 or 4 year college degree and time to send 2 emails, you could definitely be a successful mentor, and we would love to have you. And then over and beyond that, if you are hearing this and thinking, wow, this would be a perfect opportunity for my department, or we have space in our next newsletter, or if you're representing a different organization here today that you think would be interested, please contact me. We would love to talk with you about how we could get in front of your organization, your employees, your colleagues. I know it says April 1st on the screen, and we are trying to push people to do it by April 1st, but we do have some leeway there. So if it's later into the month of April, that's okay as well. We just want to make sure we have the best possible volunteer base of support for our students for this upcoming year. And then I think, yes. So last slide, my information there is on the left. Again, I'm Madeline. You got the second level person today. I apologize. Nikki is our main recruiter who does a lot of these, but she's doing another pitch right now. So apologies, you had to suffer through me. But does anyone have any questions or comments?
Can you share how many mentors you're looking for this year?
Yes, so we anticipate about 500 students will join, and so we are in this final month pushing to find maybe another 150 to 200 mentors.
Okay.
Yeah. So the need is definitely there. We're seeing some good engagement. I don't know if any of you watch WKYC, Channel 3, but we are partnering with them every Monday. They're running a special called Mentor Monday, so we're seeing a lot of traction from that as well. But every little bit helps, and we again really want to make sure that we are cognizant of our students and their needs, and both in terms of their professional aspirations, but also their life experiences and identities.
And in the past, have there been times that you've had a very fruitful outreach campaign, you've gotten more mentors than you've had opportunities, and you therefore aren't able to match every mentor with an opportunity?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's always a sort of a strange calculus for us because we're never entirely sure how many students we'll have. So we do tend to try to overshoot a little bit every year. So that is something that we do contend with. But if you are a volunteer that signs up with us and we don't have a match for you right out of the gate, we do try to keep you involved, and we've had a pretty good success rate with keeping people interested, and then we commit to matching you in the first next cycle possible. So we talk about that at the orientation, the training for volunteers.
Any other questions?
No, but I do have a comment. I like what you said, Madeline, about the credential being one of the pathways to achieving the American Dream. One of the programs that we have in the Department of Development is called Skill Up. And one of the things that we see all the time is when employers upskill their staff, and you see somebody's hourly wage increase by $10, $20, or $30 an hour after they've received this credential, it can be transformative and life-changing, and things that they couldn't do before, now they're able to do. So this sounds very much like some of the stuff we do already in the Department of Development with the Skill Up program.
Oh, that's excellent. I'll have to look a little bit more into that. And College Now, as mentioned, has a pretty wide mission. So I have colleagues who are focused on adult learners and slotting them into programs like that. So I'll make sure that they're aware of that program as well.
Sure, we can have a conversation offline, and I can give you more details.
That'd be excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just, Madeline, could you state what the process is? If a person is interested in being a mentor, what's the timeline on when they would find out and when they would get their initial match if there's that possibility?
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you, Lenora, for that question. So first would be the application, which you can get to from that main link there. And then as soon as you submit that, we will be in touch with you there's a couple other training steps. So the first is you'd have to schedule a telephone interview. It's a 30-minute interview. It's a nice calendar link. You can schedule us to call you whenever it's convenient for you. And then after that point, we also would want you to schedule an orientation, and those are still virtual on Zoom webinar, and we offer those on a rolling basis. We do want people to come to those live to make sure that we can answer questions and have some engagement and make sure people are taking in the information. So those are offered throughout the spring and summer. And then we also have a background check process. I'm confident that Cuyahoga County employees will have had a background check for employment, but we will do one as well. We pay for that. And then at that point, volunteers would be cleared to participate with us, and we could consider them for matches. The main matching cycle will open in June. Not to say we wouldn't possibly have matching opportunities earlier, or, would, as David asked, we might actually extend the matching period later into the year for some, but we communicate that to people as that comes up.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
If there's no other questions, we want to thank you for coming or, presenting today. Look forward to hearing more information. I'll be following up. We have I have an all staff message that goes out tomorrow. I'll see if this is something we can include some information on it. So we'll follow up.
Be excellent. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. You're welcome to continue on. We're going to move on with our agenda. I think our next item is, so sure, you're welcome to continue on or drop off, I should have said. Lenora, our next item is a presentation on the annual equity report.
Yes, and I just wanted to provide an update. When we had our meeting in January, we were in the final stages of preparing the final report. The final annual equity report must be posted by January 31st. So it was posted after our meeting. I just would like to say I was excited because it was the first year that we had more than the pilot departments. But it was very, I thought it was ambitious, but it was very great to see each of the departments providing details similar to what we provided at earlier part of our meeting on what they did in last year in 2022 and what their commitments were for 2023. The goal is to continue that process of making sure that we're fulfilling the county code requirements, that we talk each of our domains about what we're doing as far as embedding equity and inclusion and diversity in our operations. And so we're looking at a couple of initiatives this year, the Mid-Year Equity Summit, because I know that with the end of the year, there's a rush, so we want to keep equity on our mind. It was one of the recommendations that came out of the DEI training with the coaching with Dr. Marlon Moore, which part of that team, was having a mid-year equity summit as a way to, again, share lessons learned, what we're working on so far, also hearing our colleagues talk about their work at that point in the year might also give the other people hearing it tips on things that they can implement or areas that they can help spark or push their equity initiatives on the trajectory that they want for their items. Also at the Mid-Year Equity Summit, we want to make sure that we're looking at preparing for the summary of our actions with the upcoming equity report. The goal is not for the report to be the burden of preparing, but the report to be an opportunity to discuss the work that has been done and what our plans are for the future. And so I was just excited with some of the projects that departments mentioned. I don't know if anyone here wanted to mention some of the projects. Well, you've already mentioned your projects, but if there were any comments you all had on the equity report and the process.
Put it up. Is there any comments?
I just wanted to make a comment, Sabrina Roberts, how amazing the layout was. Just kudos to the comms team for all the pictorials and just the layout. I mean, it's pleasing to look at, and a lot of people made mention of that type of detail. So I just wanted to shout out the communications team on that piece.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I do want to. I want to share with you your accolades for comms. I think they're really producing some high quality products right now, and really unsung heroes on a lot of this stuff. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, definitely. Carmen, Tyler, Dawn, have been excellent. And to bring that feel where it is, because we're speaking to the audience, to the community, so that they know what actions we are attempting, that is a priority, and for it to be in a format that's appealing and speaks to them so that they can have an understanding of what departments and our actions that we're taking. So I was so excited.
So on the point of communications, less about the plan, but more about messaging. You know, I've realized the need to probably look for a toolkit that could help me promote your office and promote some of this work. I regularly have community members and institutions and stakeholders approach me about, trying to become a county partner. And I think I traditionally just sort of pound out an email and send it to them and directing them back to your website and your resources if I think it's applicable. But I'm realizing if we had some scripting or some sort of sample message that really guides them through the process, that could be really helpful. And it's just come to mind as we talked about how we translate what can otherwise be complicated work into an easy to understand format. It might be something that we bring up at another time, and just to see if there's something that could be posted for directors when they're responding to a request from a constituent or from a community. How do they get access to the work and the resources?
And that's a good point. I found GARE, while the site is kind of overwhelming, I found if you could target some things in the site, it offered really, really good information. So maybe even reinstituting that, don't forget, we have a membership, and it really has great resources, to help departments find, pick and choose kinds of things that would help them keep moving, keep the needle moving. So maybe just sort of reintroducing GARE again. It's such a great website. It can be overwhelming, but if you target things, then you kind of know what you can find useful.
Brandon?
Chair, is there, Sabrina Roberts, is there an opportunity for Garrett maybe, because it is kind of a complicated website to do a, maybe join us in the future to do a kind of tutorial again, or in our subcommittee meeting? Because it is a little overwhelming sometimes and people forget how to move around the site.
It's a great
I
question.
mean, I'll reach out to, send an email to Gary and see if that's an opportunity. They have, so as a membership, as you know, everyone has opportunities to be their own individual membership in Gare. And also with that, there's different, as you mentioned, it's overwhelming, but they have like a monthly directors meeting. They have different groups that people can join that focuses on different components. So definitely. It's one of those, I wish I had more time to dig more into.
I know, it's so good.
And people may forget
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
we can, you know, that if they're not already a member, that they can be a member.
Dawn Calavini. I would like to respond to a couple of things. First of all, Gare, you can sign up to get a daily message board of, you know, just some of the things that have, some of the conversations that have been going on online, and that's helpful because a lot of people will put links in there to documents or toolkits or things that they're working with in their jurisdictions. You know, it's from all over the country, and just that sense of collaboration and you know, sharing of ideas and really good thoughts is helpful. So on the county intranet, which I think is a criminally underused tool that we have for everybody, there under the initiatives drop-down, there is a page for Gare which explains the membership and how to sign up and just gives you that link all the time. But I haven't publicized that for a while, so it's been there, and I can definitely do that. And College Now, there's also a College Now page under initiatives too, which I just updated with their latest flyer and a link, and it's been in the know. I think I put one out in the know in February, and then another one's coming out in Mondays in the know. Just a, you know, a call out to people to consider that, consider mentoring a local student, and that it's a very valuable experience for both of them. So on there, and I mean, there's a DEI initiative page too, which we'll talk about when, probably next time after we get more information on what's next, because that'll be the place where people go if they want to register or get more information. So you can always direct anybody under your purview to the intranet, and there's stuff is there.
Any other questions or comments on the annual report? All right, so I think we're to the point of closing remarks. I started on my left, I'll start on my right. Lenore, anything to add?
I'll just say it was a great meeting and a lot of good information on what is occurring in the county, and as I stated probably 2 or 3 other times, inspiring.
Great. I have no closing remarks. Jill?
No, I think just, Dawn, thank you for the reminder about the intranet. That's usually where I loop staff members to, and it's just such a good clearinghouse for everything. So thank you for that reminder.
If, as you use it, if you have any suggestions on how it could be better organized, that's one of the struggles, is there is so much there that, you know, just letting people know how to get the information they're looking for.
So far, so good. but
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're off to a great start in 2023. I agree with Director Lockett's comments and all the things that the different departments are doing and initiatives that we have going forward. So I look forward to continuing that and having a great 2023.
And I echo those sentiments. I love the work that we're doing and the fact that we can share it not only internally but externally. And I'm looking forward to initiatives on equity from the Human Resources Department and continuing the work that we're doing. You know, I'm getting to attend, and if you all don't know about United Way, is putting on a program, Social Determinants of Work, on March 28th. So I'm looking forward to attending that and finding out what we can do both internally and externally. You know, because our employees are also our community. So I'm looking forward to continuing to do that work as well.
Great. Well, I think lots of great updates, and I think our next scheduled meeting is May 18th. We want to make sure that's on everyone's schedule. And unless there are no other comments or anything else needed from the group, I think our meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're still on, so just a heads up, although the cameras are off, we're still on.
Yeah, just turned them off. He just went
Okay.
off air.
All right.
Okay, everyone, thank you.
Good, thanks.
Good meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, the mic's still.
Yeah, we got